So it looks like the GPU flood is definitely here. I mean, yesterday was crazy. Look at the aisles of GPUs. Everything is pretty much stocked to the brim. Not only that, look at some of the prices that have been coming down. We're going to talk about why they're coming down so fast. I mean, look at this, a 3090 Strix. This is the white version, was on sale for $19.99. That's pretty crazy. It was even cheaper than the black version, which is still over $2,200. But you can see, even that is in stock. In one store had over 8 of them. If you guys have been looking for especially like 3090s, the Strix, you'll know that the white one is usually much more expensive. Usually it'll be like $2,300 or $2,400, and that's going to be retail. So pretty insane that this shipment that they got in was cheaper than what they probably had before of the black versions. Now, not everybody's looking for a 3090, but that's an indication of where the market is going, and there are going to be many more outrageously priced deals. I mean, you're not going to get really cheap GPUs, don't get me wrong. I want to put it in perspective. It's going to be cheaper than what we have been experiencing last year, throughout this year. So it's not like you're going to go and pay like MSRP $499 for a 3070 Founders Edition unless you get lucky with one of the Best Buy drops, and that's something else that continued yesterday. I'm really saying yesterday was a crazy day. I was monitoring what was going on across a bunch of different places. So many places got stock. That's why I think it's pretty accurate to say that this is now a GPU market flood. I mean, Best Buy had multiple drops in store yesterday. I was checking out what was happening online and in stores. So many stores got shipments yesterday. It was pretty crazy. If you guys have been following that little app trick, the Best Buy app trick, you know that they're canceled orders from their different online drops. Well, yesterday, for example, if you follow it on Twitter or on Discord, you'll see that there were so many notifications for Founder Edition GPUs popping up in stock. In fact, I even have a friend who went and he was able to get a 3060 Ti for $399, Founders Edition. And he was there probably within 20 minutes of getting some notification that it was in store. I have some other crazy stories. Another friend went to try and get an RTX 3080 Founders Edition, but it seems like possibly one of the store employees got to it before he could. And keep in mind, these GPUs had just come in pretty much off the truck. So there were other GPUs available as well, mainly Founder Editions that we saw yesterday, which was pretty interesting because a while back I even did a video saying that the Founder Edition seemed to have disappeared a little bit. But it seems like at least yesterday we got a considerable amount of Founder Edition GPUs. And I know I always bring them up, but they are really the most attractive GPU options when you're in such a tough market. Priced pretty good is a Windows CD key. Today's video sponsor is going to be VIP-CDKdeals.com. Very simple process. You can get a Windows 10 Pro CD key and remember to use code CC20 for a nice discount because they retain that original MSRP that Nvidia put on them. Like the 3080 will be $699 as opposed to the 12GB or even the 10GB models of the 3080 third-party AIB models that seem to go for well over $1,000. Some of them are kind of getting a little bit lower, under $1,000. I saw they had an open box MSI 3080 10GB for about $836. That certainly was a good indication of where the market is going, but still, none of these are going to be anywhere near as nice as the Best Buy drops, and they hadn't had too many really in the recent few weeks, especially not a Founders Edition. So yesterday was very shocking to see the amount of GPUs that were being dropped, and there were Founder Editions. So many people were able to get them. A lot of my viewers will sometimes write comments and say, oh, I was able to get this or able to get that. So always very glad when I can pinpoint, people to different locations when they can kind of see what's going on in the market. And this kind of coincides with the crazy amount of stock that I've been seeing, even sort of if you check on Newegg and B&H and Amazon, places that sometimes would not have any GPUs at all. I mean, look at Newegg. They pretty much even stopped the Newegg shuffle. They had to do the shuffle for a long time because GPUs were so difficult to get that they could pair any motherboard, even crappy power supplies and things like that, and people would end up buying whatever GPU it is just because they needed it and they couldn't find it anywhere else. And often it ended up being perhaps a little cheaper than paying a scalper. At least you got some type of component with it, which most of the time wasn't really that great, but once in a while you could get lucky and get a good GPU without getting ripped off. So interesting that they stopped that shuffle and they actually have stuff in stock now that you can go at any time and buy. May not be the exact GPU that you want. Some of the prices are still a little high, but some prices have come down a considerable amount. And of course, I did go to Microcenter, which is a store that actually sells these GPUs, and you can pretty much walk in and buy whichever GPU that you want. I mean, they had 3090s, 3080 Ti's, they had 3060s, 3060 Ti's. They have a plethora of AMD GPUs, which before weren't really selling very well because their pricing was way too high, even at retail. But some of those prices have come down a considerable amount. I even did a video on a 6900 XT that was down to $1,049. It had a $50 mail-in rebate, which is a pretty incredible price for that GPU because, once again, it competes with a 3090, which often is around twice that price. Now, other GPUs, and you do have to be careful, you'll see a 6800 sometimes for the same price as that 6900 XT because the market is still in a balancing act. It's trying to find out where the prices will go. That's why one store may have like a 3070 Ti Asus, for example, for $949, while at the same time, another store will sell that same GPU for around $699, as we saw when it dropped on Newegg, and even Microcenter dropped it to $729. So pricing is literally all over the place, but it's a better chance for you to get a good deal on a GPU that you've been eyeing. So there are many factors why the price may be going down. Of course, with cryptocurrency mining, even though it's still profitable, there are definitely murmurs that there's going to be a big change in ETH coming up sometime this year. Who knows if that's going to happen? I'm sure that's playing a role in it. Of course, lots of worldwide events happening that's sort of making everything a little bit shaky. There's also been a reduction on the tariff, so that's explaining some of these price decreases. Overall, definitely less demand. Probably the manufacturing kind of caught up with everything. There are many things that are still going to happen this year with GPUs. I mean, we have Intel releasing GPUs, should be soon. We're going to have AMD with RDNA 3. That should be pretty exciting as well. Of course, RTX 4000 will also come. While some people may say this generation is going to not really be good anymore when the new stuff comes out, I think that whatever new GPUs come out, more than ever, they're going to live side by side with what we have now. After all, a 3080, 3090, they're all fantastic GPUs, and especially they just released a new version of the 3080 with 12 gigabytes. You have the 3080 and 3070 Ti's, which came out after the initial launch as well. So I think when RTX 4000 comes out, we can expect pricing to be really high. Availability definitely will be tough. So I think they're going to sell it concurrently next to the GPUs. We certainly have been hearing some things like that may be true. They're going to sell both at the same time. Definitely won't be atypical at all, especially considering the amount of GPU shortages that we've had. And I think the same will hold true for even AMD. Intel certainly could prove to be a surprise. We don't know yet if it's going to be really well priced, available, if it's going to be, really, really great performing. We've seen tidbits here and there, but it's tough to tell exactly what's going on. We're going to have to see how it enters the market. If it enters during sort of a GPU flood in a down market, it's not going to be too great for Intel because before, every company could sell literally anything that they made, but as the GPU market gets a little bit tougher, that certainly starts to change a considerable amount. So we're going to have to see if that continues to hold true. Let me know if you guys were able to get any great GPUs or any better pricing, especially yesterday, maybe even today. Let me know what your thoughts are about buying a GPU now or waiting. Some people want to wait until the next generation, but remember, that could be tricky as well with higher prices, higher power draw, less availability. You may have a better chance at getting a good price on an existing GPU rather than one that comes out, even if it does perform better. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.